logic works, that's the case. It's not an even application to every seed. Every seed is different in its own regard, and we're getting started here.
Yep, we're underway. The uncle giving us some true facts that they're not going to have boots until they have boots, so that's good to know.
Indeed, they get the lamp to start with, though, so that's a little bit of some love there, I guess, as far as not having to do dark rooms.
Yeah, you do get a little worried when you see a lamp because you're thinking, oh no, hagging him already, but there's a lot of items before we'll determine whether that's going to be forced or not, but lamp will just be nice for Eastern or something. The dream would be to pick up the bow as a randomized weapon from the uncle here, and then you can just go have an easy time in Eastern Palace with your bow and your light rooms, but instead, it's bombs.
Yeah, it's going to be 10 bombs, and by the way, just real quick here, shout out to Supercar's timer. I have never seen that display before, and I'm like enthralled by it. That's great. It's got like the traditional ticker kind of counting up and down there. It's really unique looking, actually.
It's pretty active without being really in your face like the Blant timer. I don't mind it.
Yep. So both runners, of course, making the usual standard play here up to Hyrule Castle. They're kind of forced through here at the start.
You know, we do have a boomerang, which is pretty interesting. We'll be able to check the stun prize right away. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody stun a guard and then throw a pot at it just to make sure. Actually, what am I saying? Why would they farm for bombs? They already got them. That's their escape weapon.
That is true. We might see one here. Yeah.
Just to make this easier.
Oh, yeah. Well, it'll make this easier if the stun. Yeah, we're seeing Supercar go ahead and get the stun lock off. Daaanty having a little bit more difficulty.
Yeah, the guard is really not cooperating for Daaanty.
No. Chooses to try to do it without the boomerang and accidentally bombs himself. So
down to 4 bombs for Daaanty is a little concerning here. That's exactly the amount he needs to finish the escape. So we'll see what the play is. These next 2 guards have to go well, and then potentially you could do a save and quit or intentional death after picking up Zelda to get some partial bombs refilled, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty tough here to get through with 4 bombs. No real room for error at this point. Okay, first one's all right. Could hope for a drop here from something.
Okay.
Okay, that's not good.
Can't miss now. But he's got the guard locked on the chest, so this is good. Gets it down.
Okay, so we've at least got up to Zelda here.
Yeah, so I believe there's 2 points where you could save and quit or take an intentional death and not lose much time. It's either right after you pick up Zelda, you'll get 3 bombs back, or right after you get into the Dark Sewer, you'll get 3 bombs back there as well. There's the maybe low but potential of the stun prize being bombs, so maybe, you know, take the boomerang upstairs, stun a guard just to see if that's the case, and then if it's not, do the save and quit at the sewers. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the save and quit right after grabbing Zelda here.
So that's
another option.
So can I just, for a moment here, say uh-oh? Because we just got a magic cape out of... Yeah, that's not a good sign. Daaanty actually going to go ahead and will save and quit, starting the cell with 3 bombs. So that's a fairly smart move there, remembering that they can do that.
I think this respawns the guard up here, unfortunately, so it'll have to be killed again. But, you know, 3 bombs, you only need 1 for this, so it's not so bad. And then you don't have to push the statue again in the throne.
Yeah, this is not too difficult. Just gonna walk the bomb up. Okay.
Ooh. Okay, now this boomerang is incredibly valuable because with 1 bomb, you will absolutely stun that key rat before you go for that home throw, I think.
I think so, yeah. Just a safe route here. But yeah, we're kind of 2/3 of the way to AGA access here. One thing that we would need at this point probably is something, either a bug net or a sword to deflect the yellow walls back at AGA to actually be able to do that boss fight.
Yeah, you do at least need a sword to slash the curtain up top. Thank goodness.
That too, yes.
But yeah, I really hate the Ega tower where you have to get in with the cape and the fighter's sword, because the fighter's sword is just awful at killing the enemies that you have to kill in there.
Yeah, because the game assumes that you're going to have at least Master Sword, because a lot of the values that are retained here for things like difficulty, for enemy health, they don't scale up or down with the randomizer seed. They are static and they remain the same as they are in the vanilla game. So Dark World hits really hard if you only have green mail and a few hearts. And if you get a bunch of really good stuff really easy, everything just melts.
Yeah, that's for sure. Particularly in older versions of the randomizer, where swords and mail and gloves and all that were not progressive upgrades, so you could just instantly have a butter sword. Of course, the game being super random, it can happen, but you're gonna have to pick up 4 swords for it. Alright, so there's the stun on the key rat, so Supercar will be able to just sit here. Wait. The rat kept moving. Did they not stun?
They might not. I don't know. I thought they did.
But... the bomb though, so
yeah,
that worked.
It turned out to be a good play.
Right, Daaanty going for the suicide strat, manages to get that rat down.
It's down to 1 heart, but you won't have any bombs here for the 3 chests here in escape. Doesn't look like there's anything too important hanging out there.
Yeah, the bottle might be significant, and it's something Daaanty will have to come back for later, but at least it's not the power glove back there. Unless the bottle leads to the power glove, it's not going to be a big deal, but you can't do that right now.
And the sink. The sink! Oh my goodness. Nope, rat ruined the sink there.
We were living in a beautiful dream for a moment.
And just a big 20 in Sank Chest, and our runners are now making their way out of the Sanctuary into the wide open world.
Get a quick map check there. It looks like Eastern's going to be a normal crystal. I think Desert was the green pendant and Hera another pendant, so not something you want to see. You prefer to have light world crystals. Increase your chances of some long dark world dungeons not being required, but that's not going to happen this seed. Only 1 pendant in the dark world.
Yes, indeed. That Tower of Hera was red pendant, #1 crystal at Eastern Palace, and the green pendants at Desert Palace, which may mean that it certainly could be within logic for a green pendant turn-in at some point there.
That's true. Alright, so we're going to give a look at the Lumberjack Ledge, and that appears to be 20 rupees, so egg is not required in that sense, but we still have those concerning items in our inventory that are maybe pointing towards that being our Dark World access.
Indeed, so all we know is that we don't need a specific item on Lumberjack Ledge, but we still may need the access point for Dark World, depending on what we find here in our light world checks to start the game.
Yeah, no, something I didn't expect to make much of a difference, but is actually kind of ending up being annoying for Daaanty, is the Sanctuary Heart was in the back of Escape there, and Supercar has been able to just, plug along through the light world here, but Daaanty down to 1 heart without having been able to get that refill at the end of Escape has had to kind of wait around, dodge some birds for a little bit, and here again has to wait for that bird to go by, so loses a bit of time here and there because you can't risk taking a hit. Taking an overworld death early on is not very fun.
Certainly not at 8 minutes. Gotta be careful here.
Oh, goodness.
Oh! That's not fun at all. Gonna have to take the long walk back to Kakariko.
Yeah. Definitely worse places to die, but you never like to start a race off on the wrong foot like that. So already behind, not being able to check the back of Escape, and has to walk to Kakariko now. So we'll see Supercar make all of these standard early game checks first, and see if there's any progression here. Blinds out so far, just a bunch of nothing.
Indeed, and Daaanty, I think there's the gloves hiding out in the back room of Blind Hut there. But I think Daaanty was trying to get there's a bush you can jump over that prevents you from having to actually interact with those green guards. I think he was just a tiny little bit over and missed it, and wrong item out there.
I like that little fire coming out. It's like, oh, hey. So that power glove being in the back of Blindside is really good news for Daaanty. It means the back of Escape bottle is not going to be a big problem.
Right. And I was about to say, I will blow this wall up with fire. Wait. I'm missing something.
He's just trying to light the fuse on the bomb. It wasn't out there yet.
Yeah, just thinking a little bit ahead there. Getting 300 rupees hanging out in the bottom of well there, but not a whole lot otherwise. Just some hearts and some more rupees and various things. But that will allow Supercar to go ahead, talk to the bottle vendor, and get another little bit of love.
Yeah, nice to get those 300 rupees early on, but as soon as we get another one, we're going to stop caring about rupees pretty quickly. Let's see what the Chicken Hut has. We're running out of items in Kakariko. Really the only thing so far was the Power Glove, but there are the flippers.
Splish Splash, our runner is going to be taking a bath with those flippers.
And pretty good money count, you know. We might see South Shore straight into Zora at this rate. It's not unlikely that they'll find 80 more rupees along the way.
And Sick Kid turn-in is only going to be 10 arrows, so Daaanty not really missing a whole lot there. There's Candace Samaria in the tavern, though.
Not a bad item to find. That'll be our Mire and Turtle Rock completion later on, and they don't have really any weapons aside from the few bombs that they started with, and Supercar didn't stop to buy bombs on the way out of Kakariko as well, maybe trying to keep a high money count for that potential Zora, since the flippers are in, but only 2 bombs means that you can't fight the mini Moldorms with it, so it's pretty nice to have Akina Samaria do that instead.
Indeed, Daaanty going to pick up... Oh, there's the sword! So, Supercar going to be using one of those 2 remaining bombs in order to get that. But, runners have sword now, so they have everything they need for Aga. Question is, do we need to go there?
Yeah, we're probably going to try to avoid it. Check almost everything, if not everything in the light world first, but you never know. Like, some people may want to put off some really kind of poor out-of-the-way checks like Agina's Cave, and stuff like that, and just say, yeah, it's probably Aga. But without a Moon Pearl, that's not going to happen just yet, because you're not going to gamble Moon Pearl on the pyramid, I think, until the very last thing.
Yeah, I would assume that would be the case. I was going to mention too that Candace Samaria pickup is actually really nice because at least either one of Misery Mire or Turtle Rock is going to be required based upon we know the Overworld pendant locations, and now we know there's 1 Dark World pendant location.
That's very true. Daaanty saves some time on the race game here, it looks like, by just going in blind there. A lot of people will do this based on how much they get in Kakariko. They just say, okay, I got almost nothing. Then the chances of the remaining overworld items being something goes up, so you just go in and save some time on checking it. So managing to make up some time there, and he's going to be heading down. Supercar's bomb count is going to be potentially a bit of a pain here, but maybe they were not intending on going to Ice Rock Cave anyways.
That's certainly possible. But yeah, one of the things that also makes sense is being able to know what items you have and what that unlocks, because game will always there's always one thing the game will do, and it will always give you the tools you need to do something based on all of your checks. So you'll always have one set of things that'll say, okay, I can do this. And it's just a matter of, okay, you know, I go do that thing and I hope I get something else that gives me more progression. So it's just a matter of recognizing, you know, what items you have, what that sets up, and potentially what you could be looking for to open up other areas of the map.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how people play with that, especially as they get later on in the randomizer. We've got in Mini Moldorm Cave here, so far just some money, but that's pretty nice because we're at the Zora threshold now, or at least Supercar is. Daaanty will be a little bit short, but no actual progression here just yet.
Yeah, nothing yet. That's going to start to put Aga into the runner's minds as a possibility, but like as you mentioned, Sigma, they're not going to go ahead and check that. And Daaanty falling again, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's rough. That Sankheart kind of striking back once again, only having 2 health there, gets hit by a mini boulder and knocked directly into the pit for the death. So Daaanty's gonna walk back down there. It still makes perfect sense to do this because it's 5 locations. You really can't pass it up. But early deaths, they just kind of frazzle you. It's really hard to play after you get that kind of stuff in your head.
Indeed. Supercar, meanwhile, going up and deciding to take the Zora initiative here with checking the waterfall cave, just a big 20 and some red rupees in there. We'll be talking to our friendly fish friend who dispenses lots of life lessons, and we'll see what kind of life lesson we're getting today. What is up on that shelf? Just a big 5 sitting up there on the Zora ledge, which means that if Zora doesn't have anything, well, there's not a whole lot up here.
Yeah, and we've certainly collected a lot of items that will be opening things up once we have a little bit more, but there's not too much open to our runners anymore. Ice Rod Cave, which Daaanty might be heading to now, might also be going for a swim first. Zora just coughing up 20 bucks, so that's no good. We do have a couple locations that have opened on Death Mountain thanks to that Power Glove and the lamp, but only 2, so it's not so appealing to go there yet.
It's true. So I think Supercar is going to go ahead and probably maybe make the dip down here to see what's on Lake Helia Island. Maybe even talk to Hobo. I don't know. Oh, actually going to go in and grab probably some bombs.
Yep. Yeah, having 0, that's a pretty good choice, and might take a dip into the water now as well. Or might walk to Eastern with this. I wouldn't be surprised to see the swimming, though. We have the flippers.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Daaanty not finding anything with the Hobo down there, and Supercar will also find that as a prize here for waking up the Hobo, just getting a little bit of love.
Yep, Daaanty now swimming down. Could go left to Zora, could go right over to Ice Rod Cave. I would tend to think maybe Ice Rod Cave is at 400 rupees, but it's going to go for Zora. Really hoping to pick up 80 along the way, but I don't think there were that many here, so might have to pass up on Zora for now, but that's not going to be a big deal if he never has to come back here, since it was just 20 rupees.
Yes, indeed. That might be something that kind of sits in the back of his head for a while until we find more stuff, but yeah, it's going to only pick up 20 out of that chest. There's 5 up on the ledge, so probably just hoping that, you know, maybe beyond hope there's a big 100 or a big 300 hanging out up there. Maybe even gonna try and farm.
Yeah, I hope he just kind of gives up on this after seeing the 5, and yeah, he does, because if there's 20 rupees in the Zora's drop pool, then okay, it can work out. But if not, you're going to be up there for a really long time.
So Supercar now going to Eastern Palace. It's a Hasrila's hut. Get the hook shot in heart. And a little bit of love, but hookshot is a great find.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Supercar is going to take it and not even go to Eastern. So much is open on Death Mountain now that that's going to be the play immediately. And then Supercar will try to maybe visit Eastern later after finding the bow, because there's a reasonable chance of getting your progression up here on Death Mountain instead of having to dip into a dungeon that you'll have to do again later.
Indeed. Paradox Cave is going to be wide open on that right side, so I would not be shocked once Daaanty gets that bow as well. Not that bow, but that hook shot as well. Thinking over my wrong Eastern Palace item here, but getting that hook shot with everything that's actually maybe even going right now.
Yeah, this isn't a terrible idea because you're going to get the save point by doing this, or is that? Oh, he's going to check the bottle because he just got that back on escape. But yeah, you do get the save point if you were to go up the mountain now before heading over to Eastern, and then it's like, okay, there's nothing up here, you save and quit, you go to Eastern, and then you can just save and quit back. You don't waste all that much time walking, so it's not too bad, and you'll see people do that just in case the one or two items up here that they can get leads them somewhere. There's another bottle from the old man.
It's an empty bottle too, unfortunately.
Supercar navigating the cabbages up Death Mountain here, getting through with only, I think, 1 cabbage eaten, which is pretty good. You don't want to overeat on cabbages. They are good for you, but in moderation. Blue Mail sitting on top of Spectacle Rock. That'll be nice later on. You'll definitely see them pick that up if the mirror shows up soon. Or, you know, ever.
Well, one would hope that would show up. Kind of need it to get, at least at the moment, you kind of need it to get Desert Palace access possibly in some of those locations back there, like Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, it's of course very, very likely that the mirror will be required. As long as our one Dark World pendant is not swamped, then they'll be needing that. So Daaanty grabs that hook shot and looks like he's going to continue this walk over to Eastern without that extra, you know, save and quit and potentially having to walk back here. So we'll see who this pays off for. Supercar is able to find the bow or more progression up on Death Mountain here. That'll definitely be good for them, but Daaanty could pick up, you know, a vanilla bow in Eastern, and then you have to wonder when you'll ever go back to Eastern Palace.
Shovel's progression, right, Sigma?
Oh, well, maybe. Who knows?
It allows you to
digging later.
It allows you to progress and go do something else.
Alright, so we've got the bulk of the items coming up now. It's Big 20, Big 5. There's that Moon Pearl.
Moon Pearl.
And the Master Sword.
Well, I believe we still need either another lift upgrade or a hammer to be able to get to the Dark World without having to go to Aga.
Yeah, and at this point, there are far fewer locations left in the Light World that we haven't seen as commentators compared to what's open in the Dark World if they were to kill Aga. They get to check the front of Pod, they get to hookshot over to Village of Outcasts, they can loop around the long way to Hype Cave, and you know, I gotta say this is looking an awful lot like it's gonna be an Aga seed, but both runners will be doing their best to not do that, and we'll definitely see them cross paths before they make the play on that, I think.
Yeah, I think in my gut I'm thinking this is an Aga seed. This is starting to smell like one. Just because, especially without having a hammer, if we had a hammer first before we got the Moon Pearl, I might think that, you know, you can go do Tower of Hera and all that jazz, and it might be hiding out in its vanilla location up there, but yeah, I think at this point it's possible that the hammer could be hiding out somewhere here in the Light World. I would say it's probably a lot less likely, though.
Yeah, all we have left now that we haven't seen is these remaining chests in Eastern. Supercar is about to get Spiral Cave in, and that's it for Death Mountain now. And then there's Agina's Cave, so it's Supercar's decision now. Do you clear the Light World fully, or do you go Aga right away? And I really think those items in Eastern are way too tempting to pass up, but Supercar, gonna check that shovel first, and then we'll decide after that.
I can see that. That makes sense. Shovel's usually not a whole lot, but when it is, you strike gold, and it's something that you really need for immediate progress.
Yeah, also so close to Link's house on a save and quit. This does get a lot better if you can just mirror to it during a Dark World check, but you know, you can't always loop things together too well. So, just a piece of heart there. Supercar's going to keep walking, and I think this means we're taking a trip down to Agina now.
And unfortunately, Daaanty doing the clear of everything possible in Eastern Palace, not finding any progression.
Yeah, so we'll see. If Supercar does not do that, then Supercar is definitely going to be a great position coming out of the Light World. But those 3 items in Eastern are definitely something to worry about if you don't check it. Daanty's going to be going up Death Mountain now. Perfectly sensible play with that hook shot. We'll be able to check all the things Supercar did, pick up that Moon Pearl, and then also have to make his way to Aga, probably. I think this is our last chance for Supercar now. This is the last chest we haven't seen in the Light World, if I'm counting right.
I believe you are correct there, Sigma. And don't forget as well that Daaanty will be picking up that Master Sword as well.
Oh yeah, that's always good. That's so much. Oh,
yeah. Okay. Well, back to Eastern.
Oh man. Well, that's really really good for Supercar because they probably wanted to do this instead of Aga anyways, and now you can full clear it. So it's like, okay, yes, obviously I'm going to do this. I'm not sure if there was another item or if Daaanty found all three. We'll find out soon.
I think I counted 3, but I'm not totally certain. I know I counted at least 2.
Yeah, so Supercar will get this out, and then probably an Agaseed unless we did miss something in Eastern. But that bow in Agina's Cave, that's a nasty spot. Like, I think that's a prime spot of an example for something to skip and just do Aga first, because you're like, it's such a long walk. But Daaanty will get the shovel as well up here, so that can be a helpful point in that direction.
Actually, you know what? We are missing one chest we haven't seen yet. Ice Rod Cave.
Oh, right. Neither of them did that. That's interesting.
Yes, the one that's out of the way. Neither runner is checked yet, so the question is Supercar going to go ahead and be like, well, the odds are just kind of stacked against it being something I need to get to the Dark World. I can go do Aga after this is complete. Or will it be a trip over to the shores of Lake Hylia there to see if hope beyond hope, perhaps, that Titan's Mitts or the Hammer is hiding out there?
Yeah, that's a long walk, but I guess with the flippers, it's maybe not as bad. You can kind of swim down from Link's house instead of going around. Probably just about as slow. I don't know.
Yeah. Worst case scenario would be that it is one of those 2 items, and a runner doesn't go check it and just does Aga and doesn't need to go do that, because that's a lot of time to go up through Aga Tower if you don't have to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely worst case, but the chances are really stacked in Aga's favor, so either play does make sense in some way. Just a matter of how thorough do you want to be in the light world. And it could also be a matter of these runners have looked into how each other plays. Like, maybe one of them has a tendency to just skip Ice Rod Cave. The other one watched their race VODs and said, okay, they're skipping it, I'm not doing it either. I want this to be even.
Well, it's a possibility, strategy-wise, that a runner could decide to make that kind of decision based off of, past VODs or other knowledge you have going into this match. You may know that I like to give this example. If you're going up against, say, someone like Andy or Jed or TGH, and you just know that you're not going to probably be able to stack up with their execution, you just kind of have to be like, all right, I might need to take some gambles here that I would otherwise be normally uncomfortable with doing.
Yeah, I love this kind of mental aspect of Randomizer here, where you can do things like that. And then if you know your execution's better, you can say, well, I know my execution's better, so I'll just also gamble because I know they're gambling. Win on execution, right? I don't even know. But here comes Daaanty going up towards Aghanim, which is most likely the play here, unless Ice Rod Cave or Armos Knights has something. But
yep.
That's going to be good, but it does mean Agina's Cave is sitting there with the bow for who knows how long.
Well, at least probably until the check logic kind of brings that around for Daaanty again. We can get that routed in.
Yeah, it can definitely be really efficient later on with a desert visit or mire visit, something like that. And so now we have the joy of the Master Sword, being able to just do that spin that hits those guards twice and take care of that room.
So yeah, sometimes you take those gambles that overworld location doesn't have something you need, just gonna skip it, save the time. So ultimately, that's the big thing here, is to do this the fastest. That's why they're racing. But yeah, sometimes you take that gamble, it pays off, and sometimes you don't. You take that gamble, and it's like the worst thing that you could possibly do because your progression is hiding out there, and you're going to spend another 20 minutes doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing yet.
Yeah, I think another way to look at this race from Daaanty's perspective, like going through this Aga before fully clearing the light world, in light of the fact that it did have a couple, not horrible, but kind of time-costly overworld deaths, it could just be like, okay, well, if my opponent is even with me and is not taking these deaths, then I need to catch up some time somewhere, so I'm going to hope this is nothing, and that's going to put me back in this race.
Indeed. Supercar picking up that first crystal, just a big 20 off the Armos Knights there, so unless we've got some kind of progression hanging out at Ice Rod Cave there, indeed, this is going to be an Agaseed.
Now, what I'm hoping for here is that both players skip it, and it actually it's progression, because then we'll get to see them panic later on once they think that they missed it for forever.
Indeed, and I believe Supercar is going to make the... No? Is Supercar going over to Ice Rod Cave?
It looks like it. That's the only thing left in this direction, as far as I know.
Alright, well, Supercar is going to be thorough about this, and Daaanty making the gamble that it's nothing, so we'll see who it pays off for first and foremost here.
Yep, and Daaanty also kind of living dangerously here. This is another struggle with Aghanim. The tower is pretty long, you take damage here and there. So he's down at 2 hearts, but does have a blue potion sitting in reserve. Doesn't want to use it, most likely, but if you get down to 1 heart, it can be a little scary.
Yeah, if it's down to 1 heart, just, go ahead and pop it. Like, you don't want to, but at that point, it's going to be way worse to have to reclimb the tower again.
Okay, so as Daaanty's stepping towards this Aghanim fight, you see the last item in the light world. It's just bombs. Aga's required.
Indeed. So Daaanty making the good call here early on, the good gamble to go ahead and do Aga, and Supercar will be heading right on over there next.
Yep. Supercar not really at a disadvantage here, though. Having completed Eastern already, that's something Daaanty's going to have to go back in and do, no matter what. All those other checks may or may not happen for Daaanty, but at full Eastern clear, it's pretty good. But Dante's definitely, with these moves, and maybe a potential mirror find later on that can lump that Eastern clear together with Pod, it's definitely looking up for him.
Indeed, it's a good early start here. As you mentioned, Sigma, Supercar is quote-unquote behind right now. You might be looking at it and thinking, oh, well, Dante's doing Aga and Supercar is just going in to do Aga right now. Gosh, but yeah, you do mention that Eastern Palace has been cleared by Supercar already, so that's 1 crystal to 0. And at some point, Daaanty will have to dip back in and get that Eastern Palace crystal to be able to complete the game. So a little bit of time gained now, perhaps a little bit of time lost later.
And Supercar is getting beat up by this first guard room, did not opt for the spin strat, so is down to 2 hearts right at the start of Aga Tower, and that is not a comfortable amount of health for this area.
Sure isn't. And Daaanty finishing up Aga 1. Getting that full refill.
And now where's our progression going to be? There's many locations open. The pyramid, first off, just 300 rupees, but I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, Dante's actually going to skip it. I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick it up because he hasn't paid for Zora yet, and there's still a few things here and there, but you'll probably get the money that you need in chests.
Interesting. I think Dante's going to go ahead and poke shot over. Going to skip the pod check. Not going to go do Catfish, it looks like, to start with. Maybe hope that Catfish has something and then perhaps work around the Village of Outcast.
Yeah, could be that. Could also walk down to pod from here, but yeah, this Catfish check, it always takes forever. So some people do like to just get out of the way immediately because if you don't do it now, you may not do this for another hour, and if it's something, then man, it's gonna be big.
Yep, seen plenty of races that have kind of been thrown by Catfish check having something of value. Somebody goes and checks it first, gets their thing, puts them either in go mode or very close to go mode, and then the other person's just kind of wandering around checking everything else.
Oh my goodness, it's the flute!
Wow! And that is potentially going to be needed if Misery Mire is a crystal.
Yeah, we haven't got a Dark World map check yet, and here it is. TR is the crystal. So, TR is the pendant, sorry. So yeah, that flute's required. And it's a great item for speeding up your clear of the overworld.
And 5 and 6, the red crystals are at Skull Woods and Misery Mire, so they will be the 2 crystals that will be needed to complete the requirements to get that big bomb and open up the Pyramid Fairy.
Alright, so Daaanty, not gonna opt to go to pod. Bolus, hammerless, it's not so appealing. And oh man, nice. Supercar got a fairy drop. It had to take the tower pretty slow, being safe in all these rooms to make sure to not take any damage. But now, full health, it's gonna feel good going to these last few floors.
Yes, indeed. Daaanty going to be, I think, checking. Probably gonna walk up here and check the bumper cave for a little bit of early intel. Does have the cape too, so if it's something good, can go ahead and gonna go ahead and use that potion now with the pterodactyls. Oh, it is.
That's so big. The Titan's Med is so nice right now because that takes away this long overworld walk that Daaanty had to do. Sometimes the seed makes you do it multiple times, but here the Titan's Med, now we can get access to the Dark World portal on the left side and Dark Death Mountain. Man, that's really nice.
I really like this play because you're already walking over to Village Outcast anyway. It's a little bit of a hike to get over there from the path you'd normally take, but it's not such a pain in the butt that you can go check this now. And every once in a while, it turns out to be a situation like this where it's a really good thing.
Yeah, I do think Supercar will find this Titan's Mid pretty much at the same time relative to their Dark World entry. The one item that Daaanty does have that Supercar might skip for quite a long time is that flute, which is pretty big. So Supercar will be finishing up Aghanim soon. Daaanty, you know, we're showing how miserable the Dark World is with free mail and low hearts because we had to burn a blue potion because of the Pterodactyls causing a lot of damage, and then got clipped by one again on the way out. So 2 hearts walking around. Might opt for something like go into Thieves Town and then just die right away to get a health refill, or something along those lines. I'd be tempted to do that.
Well, that's certainly a possibility. So, gonna be checking out some of the locations here. Picked up a 300, actually 350 out of the treasure chest game. Wow, very generous.
That paid off.
And Supercar now into Death World, Dark World as well.
Death World's a pretty good name.
Death World is also appropriate. with only having green mail.
Alright, so Daaanty's checked everything in Village of Outcasts right now, probably hoping to find that hammer before stepping into Thieves Town. He's gonna go in now, no hammer. Might have to leave the big chest behind, but we'll see what we get throughout here.
Yeah, as Jade is mentioning in the chat here, and it's worth noting, this was definitely so far a seed where one-off locations have a lot of power. We've got Catfish having the flute, Agina having the bow, and just a lot of these little one-off locations you don't normally check just showing up and absolutely having items of need.
Yep. Supercar bending up here. Looks like it's gonna take a look at Bumper Cave right away, so we'll get that Titan's Mid, but you know, as we expected might happen, did miss that flute on Catfish, so we'll see when they get back to that. It's just, oh gosh, that's such an awful location, especially when you've already done Zora. You can't even, you know, mirror there and get that out of the way, but it could be good, could be bad, depends on if there's also something in Mire, I guess.
I think Daaanty taking that Death Warp you mentioned just a little bit ago here. Nope, actually gonna hop on out. Okay. Can you go do some other stuff?
Alright, I know there was at least 2 items in the front half. I should pay more attention to this, but if they picked up, you know, 3 items already, you could say, like, okay, I'll go back to Thieves Town later. I don't want to get burned by a revisit on that big chest, so let's just find the hammer first. Also, you know, at not the greatest health, not the greatest stats, you don't want to invest a bunch of time into Thieves Town and then get beat up on the Hellway and die.
Indeed. Getting some divergence here. Supercar is going to go into Skull Woods, while Daaanty going to do the digging game. Probably work their way around to, I would guess, Hype Cave if they're going this way.
Yeah, most likely. Supercar getting a small key from that first chest, so won't have to run around and go through the pinball room, so that's always nice. Daaanty, man, there are a lot of digs here, but hey, there's blue mail. Putting red mail now on Spectacle Rock. Ice Rod showing up for Supercar there in the skull.
Normally that would be Nice Rod, but we may not even need it for Turtle Rock, so questionably Nice Rod.
You're maybe not too happy to see it show up because you think, oh no, am I really gonna have to kill Trinex?
Puts that thought into the back of your head. Hey, guess what? We're going on a world tour with our frog friend. Yay!
Frog's just been sitting there the entire time. You need some exercise. Daanty's gonna take him on for a trip.
Well, it's kind of an abbreviated world tour here because we don't have the mirror, so I'm really getting a big 20 off Stumpy. Stumpy, you've let us down again.
Dang it, Stumpy. So Supercar was looking for that last item in Skull Woods, but it didn't show up in the big key chest. It's somewhere in the back, gated by the fire rod. So we'll have to remain in suspense as to what that is for now. But Supercar is going to be heading down, likely take a look at Village of Outcasts, Town themselves, as Daaanty walking over to Hype Cave. So 5 items coming up for Daaanty. Is it going to let us down this time once again, or are we actually going to find something useful here? Let's see.
Yes. I'll leave it at that. Just yes.
Yes.
Yes, what? Just yes. Picking up some bombs from the NPC. First chest, arrow upgrade. Bomb upgrade. A little bit of love, arrow upgrade. Well, that was a bust.
That was terrible. At least we gained 2 bombs on the adventure. Or no, 1 bomb. We had to blow up the first door too.
Yeah, so we got 2 bombs out of that and a piece of heart. I think that's a square root of -1 out of 10.
Yep. At least the piece of heart wasn't a full health refill. Didn't get wasted there. So that's one thing. All right.
That's true.
Give up on Hype Cave. It tried. Oh yeah, and Daaanty gonna activate that flute now. I really like picking up the smith in the context of this because you have to come back here. You're going to pretty much want to come back and activate your flute right away at this point. So, hey, you're already in Kakariko. Let's turn in that smith and maybe get some progression that way. A lot of people like to put that off until you have the mirror because it's just so much faster. But man, if the mirror is there, then goodness.
Oh dang, that's right. It was 2 bombs to get in, so I only got a single bomb out of that. Wow, that was
really
sad.
Disappointing, yeah.
But we're reuniting our Smith friends here.
Let's see what they have for us today. Not much.
Just a little bit of cash.
Right, so Daanty's fluting. Lots of options open here. It's gonna be heading to Link's house, and okay, this is gonna be the shovel check now.
Correct.
Supercar coming up on this 4th chest in the front of Eastern. Okay, we did get 3 items here. It was Piece of Heart, Rupees, and Bomb Upgrade. Supercar going to opt to continue through Thieves Town, so that's going to be something different. But there's only 1 item left in here. Now, it is a crystal, so we'll have to do this eventually anyways. Not bad to just get out of the way now, but if that item's hiding in the big chest, it could be potentially painful.
And Daaanty gonna go to, looks like desert. Yeah, definitely desert here. Just bombs up on the ledge. So, gonna be going over to Agina's cave, and we'll get that bow now.
Yeah, this is really good for Daaanty. Getting this out of the way with the flute, it's better than having to walk down here. And now has this one-off taken care of, and we'll have more options, more progression possible in Pod, and of course finishing up Eastern which despite it only being one item, I wouldn't be surprised to see a trip to Eastern relatively soon, since it's a crystal you have to complete. He knows there's an item left behind in there.
Indeed, and shout out to Daaanty for having 1,111 rupees. Nice even number there.
Alright, so Daaanty up at Mountain Cave. Of course, this is the fastest place to flute out of, so you save quit here pretty much all the time once you have the flute. And we'll be fluting once again. Where's it going to be? 8 Ice Rod Caves. So yeah, let's get rid of all those one-offs that I left behind before. And you don't have to think about them anymore.
Yeah, especially because so far the one-offs are really kind of starting to be a situation of having items that are important for progression. I think with the sword slashes, maybe Daaanty thinking that, yeah, there's something there in Ice Rod Cave that I need. About to unfortunately find out, nope, just some bombs.
Yeah, this is where Daaanty gets to breathe a sigh of relief and learn for sure that Ego was required after having done it, I don't know, many minutes ago.
About what, 10, 15 minutes ago? Yeah. Now, I think we're going to see the play into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I like this now. You know, crystal dungeons you can complete are always really tempting. This can only get slightly better if you happen to find the mirror and lump it together with Pod, but who knows if that'll ever happen. So, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Supercar still progressing through Deepstown here, and that's the, oh my goodness, the mirror was the other item down in Blind Cell.
Oh no.
I mean, the good news is Daaanty will eventually do that for the crystal, but might take a while, and the mirror can really make the overworld routing of the Dark World way more efficient. The Supercar still hasn't gone down and done the Smiths or any of that yet, so Cave 45, the full Smith quest, all that kind of stuff is going to be available to Supercar on that trip down south.
Yes, indeed, and that's one more item, too, that's going to be off the table for a pedestal check, or pedestal hype, as well as for go mode, so we are kind of starting to get to the point of running out of things that could possibly be hiding out on the pedestal. For those of you that are still hoping for a little bit of ped hype.
Supercar managed to take out Blind there using a combination of cane, sword, cape. It all works, and down Blind goes. We know there's nothing to be found there. We just have the map and compass left, so Supercar picks that up. Small key locking itself in the big chest this time, and will now be probably walking down south with that mirror getting that section of Dark World done.
So really we're just looking for a medallion for Misery Mire, whichever one it happens to be, the hammer, and the fire rod.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of pedestal, the only thing among those that could be in there is a medallion for Mire or something leading to it, because we need that fire rod and hammer for pendant dungeons.
That is correct.
So Supercar digging away as Daaanty takes out these Armos Knights. Doesn't quite get the, only one arrow before the one turns red, but gets it pinned in the corner pretty well, so it's going to be fast, nice fight. Supercar grabs that blue mail now, so makes you feel a lot better walking around the Dark World with 8 hearts blue mail instead of 8 hearts in a wet paper bag. Alright, so up next for Daaanty. Looks like a check on the Mire area. So we'll get to find out what this medallion is right away and take a look at the 2 items hanging out in the Mire shed.
If I remember, is hammer required for... Oh yeah, it is required for Turtle Rock to be able to get access. You are right on that. I'm trying to think, is it required for the dungeon? I'm like, wait, no, it's required to get into the dungeon.
I'm really glad that that's the case. Otherwise, there'd probably be some terrible world where you have to fight Trinex with fighter sword spins and like a bunch of potions to give yourself enough magic.
That terrible world is called Major Glitches.
Oh no.
A wonderful, wonderful world of, hey, we don't need walls. And entrance randomizer as well is apparently a possibility. That would make sense.
Sounds pretty horrifying, all in all.
And that would be actually the other possibility, chat correctly bringing up. If the boots are required for Ganon's tower, if the key's on the torch, and we don't have boots, boots could be on pedestal. Which would be
that's true.
Be so trolly for that to be a scenario.
It's always, a nightmare. That such a low probability chance of needing the boots in GT and not having them when you go up there, and then you see it, it's like, oh jeez. GT double dip is maybe it was common in Key Sanity, but you just don't want to see it in normal randomizer.
Indeed. It's like, hey, I'm done. I'm getting done with the game here. Just gonna go through Ganon's tower and shoot. Well, time to spend another 20 minutes checking all these one-off locations for a single item that has exactly one use.
Fun times. So Daaanty did a check of Super Bunny Cave up on Dark Death Mountain. A lot of nothing in there. Supercar is going to be able to use this mirror. Hasn't found anything progression-wise so far, but does have these locations out of their mind. And Daaanty might have to do this later. Supercar finishes that purple chest check and doesn't get anything out of it, and is probably going to be heading over to a cave of no significant value pretty soon.
Indeed. There's the fire rod. Hello.
Well, that's really nice for Daaanty. Daaanty hasn't gone to Skull Woods at all yet, so we'll be able to do that in one swoop, whereas Supercar did jump in there for a couple of items checked and didn't really get anything out of it.
Indeed. We'll get a check too of Turtle Rock. We'll get to see what medallion it is, and Wavy Coin, aka Quake.
So vanilla medallions for us today.
But you know what that means, Sigma?
What does that mean?
We have to put the alert out there. There's a possible bird toss.
Oh man.
In the future here for both of our runners.
It's raining birds. Look out.
Maybe even a bird tote.
Alright, Dandy's gonna put these rupees to use and say, I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna have 2 blue potions, and now I'm safe for the rest of the seed.
Supercar, meanwhile, going into Swamp Palace now.
Without the hammer. So this is one chest.
Indeed, it's just the first chest check. It could be here, but it's not.
Half magic is nice, but that is a fair amount of time you have to spend in cutscenes to get into Swamp to, basically just hope that the hammer's there. But you're already around here on this Dark World swoop, and not having the flute, Supercar's overworld traversal is not as fast as Daanty's, so you kind of want to lump things together when you can, if they're close to each other.
Daanty going to have to clear out all of the Gibdos just hanging out here.
Forgetting he could just put the Cane of Samaria on the block, but you get into this, muscle memory will do this to you.
Yep.
And we're seeing the critical disadvantage of Supercar having the mirror. Save and quit in the Dark World takes you back to the pyramid. It has to do a re-save and quit to get back up to the Death Mountain area. And looks like it's going to be a trip into Dark Death Mountain for Supercar now, most likely. Or, hey, Hera's up with that mirror.
Could be the case. I don't know if I would dip into Hera because of the fact that it's just a pendant dungeon. There's only 2 items in there, so for me, it's not as high of a value play as would Dark Death Mountain be. We'll be able to pick up the red mail up here on top of Spectacle Rock, though, so that will be a nice find. Daaanty going through and taking care of the back half of Skull Woods.
There's red mail for Supercar. Probably doesn't care too much about it, given that they skipped a full heart that was sitting in the south of Grove Cave earlier. But hey, you're not going to say no to red mail when all you have to do is take the animation for it. So Daaanty dropping into the moth fight here. Pretty much only has the Master Sword to do damage here, so it's going to be 4 spins or 8 slashes or some combination of those. Gets a few hits off early. Moth nicely flying into the middle of the room so it doesn't get damaged or, you know, ignore the damage by hitting spikes. Daaanty doing a good job of dodging and getting a lot of slashes in this there, so Moth's pretty low. This fight's looking pretty good. The typical, oh no, I'm about to die, here's my, use the potion so you don't die, and then the boss has 1 hit left, but, you know, it's always if you don't use that potion and die, goodness, there goes all your time. So Daaanty remembering the chest down below Moth, which he skipped on the way in, so I think that this might be the other item, or it might be the big key, I'm not sure.
We've already got the, I think we've already got the big key. I'm not certain on that. Actually, no, maybe we don't, because we did not see, we didn't see Supercar going there, so this should be the big key.
Yeah, unless that can lock itself in the skull, I think it might be able to.
He's setting up a death warp. Oh, it's a book.
Well, we would get a pedestal check if Daaanty had the mirror, but that's not going to happen. Supercar's got Molder 1 hit away, manages to take that worm down before getting knocked off, so good fight there. And what is our reward? Hopefully not a small key. Piece of heart, so at least it's the item.
Indeed.
So no actual progression in Hera. It's definitely something that Daaanty could save time on it. He doesn't ever have to do that pendant dungeon.
It'll just be very interesting to see what's next up here for both of our runners once they complete the tasks that they're doing right now.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of the step retracing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Daaanty, you know, after finishing up Skull, getting all the items here, just take a trip down and finish Thieves Town, it being a crystal and all that, but that's maybe just because I know that the mirror's in there. Though that does seem to be the direction Daanty's headed, so looking good.
Yeah, I think
Doesn't
you
mean
might
that hill. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think you might as well go ahead down to Village Outcast, dip into Thieves Town. It's right here. So, you know, completing this next when you've got it half done already is probably a good thought.
Mm-hmm. Probably then follow the mirror down. Well, I guess you could take the purple chest or not. That is a pretty slow item, but if you want to clear off your one-offs, then you've got to do it. Supercar is going to be getting that fire rod up on Hookshot Cave pretty soon, as well as the knowledge about Turtle Rock being Quake. And then who's going to make the next move? Supercar is going to be done with this before Daaanty finishes Thieves Town, so we'll see what they decide after that. Supercar's got that fire rod. He's gonna... Alright, this could be an intentional save and quit to the pyramid to head over to Pod, or it could be another of Gosh darn it, Aga. Alright, gosh darn it, Aga.
Yeah, always really easy to forget about that, even when you have to do it like 30 times.
Alright, so from Supercar's Saving Quick to Sanctuary, this is probably a walk back over to the portal by Kakariko and finishing up Skull Woods. Just having got the Fire Rod, you know, seems like a pretty good idea, so a little bit more of the runners doing things that each other have already done.
Yeah, it's kind of everybody's tracing everybody's footsteps right now. Still looking for that next big item progression, which would probably be the hammer at this point.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is looking exactly like that kind of seed where you say, I really want the hammer before I go to pod. Let's go do other things, and then the hammer's just in pod.
Yeah, you're just kind of a little hesitant to dip into some of those dungeons that still require one more item because you're thinking, well, maybe there's nothing there, and then I've just set myself up for a very time-consuming double dip and back into that dungeon later.
Yeah, I definitely like how both runners have approached this seed so far. Like, they've been very efficient in their checks. They've had to, you know, double back here and there, but you can't always find the perfect path on the first time, and, you know, there's just pretty good crystal completion for both of these players so far. 2 crystals down already at the hour mark, and Daanty's soon to finish Thieves Town, Supercar's soon to finish Skull Woods, and then after that, that's when things get interesting, because there's not... Oh, yeah, there's not any more crystals we can complete. I was thinking Ice Palace for a second, but that hammer, man.
Mir was in Blind's chest, in Blind Cell, in fact. So Daaanty just picked it up.
Two phases of blind down from Daaanty. Just has to get 3 more hits in, and nice weaving through all of the shots there. And also the Fire Shield is a surprisingly nice item just for this fight, if nothing else. Get some of those shots blocked for you.
Indeed it is. It'd be very nice to have those fireballs, not having to play shoot 'em up there.
Supercar using a mix of Fire Rod and slashes here on Mothula. Having half magic means it can be a lot more liberal with the Fire Rod shots. We saw Daaanty go into this fight with no magic whatsoever. Supercar's got a lot of damage in on Moth. I think 1 or 2 more hits, and it'll probably be dead. I think most of these Fire Rod shots counted. There we go.
Yep.
Alright, I think Daaanty was mirroring to the light world there to say, okay, I'll flute down and turn in the purple chest, and then mid-mirror realized that South of Grove was open and just gonna walk to that at least instead. Or wait, we're going up? Is this a trip up to Graveyard Ledge?
Might be.
Well, hey, when Catfish and Gina's Cave and all these terrible one-offs pay off, you know, hey, let's check the last one, right?
Why not? Well, actually, probably the last 2 here, because I would count the purple chest within those one-off locations. It's just kind of a pain to do.
Yeah, that's fair. Now this ledge can be a pain. You see Daaanty making sure to go over to the far edge before mirroring, because you need to drop the chest in a location and pick it up before you go back into your mirror portal or you lose it. Now we're gonna get some information from Super. God, no. Okay. Well, all right.
Dang it, Supercar. Give the people what they want.
That's a case of, if you had the book any earlier than just before then, you would have been like, okay, yeah, I'll check the pedestal. But probably in Supercar's mind was already, I'll get this item, and then the mirror was likely because it might have been the big key, head back to check that, and then it's like, well, okay, I got the item, now I'm out of here to my next step. Probably about now has already realized, oh, I could have checked pedestal, but is probably nothing. Like, unless it's ether or a path to ether, you're not going to need it.
Daaanty going back and forth there for just a moment.
So here we go for Supercar, heading over to Palace of Darkness, and this is yet unseen by us this seed. Lots of items available here. Without the hammer, the only thing that you can't do here is kill Helmosaur, so it could be a double dip, but it's definitely an appealing location to go to right now.
Meanwhile, Daaanty with that mirror, I think he's gonna go check out. Might even check out Desert Palace here, but definitely gonna go check Lumberjack Ledge.
Yeah, Desert seems like a pretty good thing to dip into. It's pretty fast, even if you have to complete it fully. Get that
Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah,
Checkerboard Cave. Yeah, wrong rhyming location. I was thinking Desert Ledge for some reason.
Sure, it's a ledge.
I got my ledges mixed up.
There's some love there. And he's gonna be he's gonna flute, so that's probably saying I don't want to go to this pendant. So what's the play instead? Heading to 3. Back to the Dark World. And then what's next? Could be a walk down to the south of Grove Cave. I think that's the only thing in this area that Daaanty hasn't done yet. And meanwhile, Ether showed up in pod there, didn't it?
It sure did. I was just about to point that out. So very early, Ether and pod kind of puts Ped to sleep for tonight. Short of a very specific scenario with a very specific key location in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be quite something. We might be here for quite a while if that happens, but it's pretty unlikely at this point. So Supercar getting through the mass of keys that are now in these chests. We got one progression item in the front of pod. That's all you can ever hope for. It's there's got to be 4 keys here at least. So I'll be heading over to the bow side, getting it, another key, and then maybe something, but probably yet another key.
So yeah, while we have no more Ped, pretty much, we still do have one more item we're looking for Go mode between our 2 runners here, which will be the location of that hammer. Once we know that, we'll be into no mode, and Daaanty will just be a trip to pod away from go mode.
Yeah, and that's quite an item to have blocking your go mode as well. The hammer unlocks so much stuff, and you normally find it much earlier, and then your other go mode items are hammer locked. But here, this seed, they have access to a lot of things, and the hammer is just hiding. So it takes completion of dungeons out of play, but there's nothing stopping it from being in Ice Palace. I mean, we already saw Supercar dip into Swamp, maybe hoping it was there, and it didn't pay off. And that's, just awful places that it can go, because you don't want to go to a dungeon that you can't complete, but here they have to.
And I would say that as soon as Daaanty finds the hammer, it's going to be a trip to pod. They'll be thinking, oh, you know what? I can go do pod now. So, hey, why don't I go do that? And then they'll be like, oh, I found Ether. Well, I'm in go mode now. Versus Supercar having to go up to Catfish to try and fish out that flute. So that's a rougher route.
It does look like Daanty's going to be checking Hera here, although it's a little bit more appealing in his case, because there's the book giving us Ether Tablet access as well. And this would be an absolutely horrible location for progression to appear if you're looking for for Supercar, because you don't want to come back up just for the Ether Tablet. Fortunately, it's just a big 20.
So we'll see what Supercar finds here in the dark maze. This is a big 20. And then we can start to look at locations where we might have to go to find that hammer. Compass. Yeah, what's in the big chest?
Is it vanilla, or are we out of here?
We are out of here.
Alright, so that's one dungeon down. Well, Supercar's gonna have to go back there, but one dungeon full cleared as much as possible. The only one left that Supercar can get into with their current items. Well, they could go to Pen Desert, or they could go into Hammerless Ice. Instead, it looks like it's catfish time. Or, well, no, it's definitely catfish time, because they wouldn't come this way and then hookshot over, I think. Unless this is just a way to get to Graveyard Ledge. Oh no, it's a way to get to Graveyard Ledge.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Supercar, no.
I guess this is a pretty fast way to do this compared to, you know, mirroring and then going to Sanctuary and then going to Kakariko and back. It's probably a little bit quicker this way, but I really hope that Supercar goes right after this and grabs that flute, but I don't know if it'll happen.
Yeah, so once Supercar goes ahead and checks this, we'll see where they go next. But Pod, we've got a hard lock on Pod. We've got a hard lock on Swamp Palace. Ice Palace, as you mentioned, Hammerless Ice Palace is absolutely within the Lechicure or Desert Palace.
Yeah, and Supercar is heading back to Catfish. That's good news for them, because that's going to be that flute. And already having Ether, you know, and just getting the flute, you definitely go to Mire and take a look. Check out those, you know, locations there, the Mire Shed, and we'll probably go full clear Mire afterwards once they realize that they can get in.
Yeah. Other bad place where there could be progression lock is within Desert Palace if it's Boots Lock Desert, and the hammer is within that, so that would probably put the boots either within Misery Mire or, more likely than not, probably within Ice Palace.
Yeah, both of them are nasty because that means you either have to double dip Ice, or the Pod double dip was forced because we had to get Ether from it and then go to Mire and then come back. Yeah, not too nice this seed overall. Daaanty's doing his best right now to avoid having to do these potential double dips that we see lining up all over the place. He's gonna clean up Zora now because he didn't have the money to do this the first time. So he's just gonna, you know, cover all his bases. And I may have lied about 20 minutes ago when I said Daaanty could breathe a sigh of relief that Ego wasn't required, because he had never checked Zora and I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, this will be a little bit of a time sink here, but not too much. It doesn't take a whole lot to get up there, especially once you have the flute.
Yeah, so it's the great hunt for the hammer now. If Supercar heads to Mire and finds it there, then I think they're in a commanding position in this race, but we'll have to see. It could be that it's in Ice Palace, Daaanty heads there, and then, you know, Supercar full clears Mire for nothing, or other than the completion, but Daaanty's heading up towards the Dark World. This looks like it's potentially a play on Pod now.
And Supercar, I think, is going into Mire.
Alright, so Daaanty will pick up Ether soon. Might follow Supercar's steps to Mire. Daaanty already knows that this is the medallion, so, you know, we'll be definitely looking towards that. The runners were enjoying earlier in the seed when they could complete Crystal Dungeons, and I'm sure they would be happy to get back to that.
Yes, both their runners have checked the floating island on Death Mountain, and I think it's just a big 20. I know it was not anything worthwhile.
Yeah, I remember seeing it and then instantly forgetting what it was, so I think you're right. Alright, here we go into Mire for Supercar. Now, having the bow, at least for Vitreous, will be kind of nice, but you'd really rather have Silvers. It's not a fun fight with only the Master Sword. You really want Tempered or Silvers to make it much, much faster.
Well, never know. Could find both hiding out here in this dungeon. There's 2 items to pick up, so it'll be interesting to see what we find inside of this crystal dungeon.
Nice Mario strat there to prevent the Wizrobes from getting away there. So, gotta find some keys for a bit first, because there's a lot of Mire keys that we'll never use. There's a whole bunch of doors in Mire you never want to open. And then maybe we'll be getting some items soon. Daaanty is gonna be going through Pod, getting that ether, and then yeah, I can't see Daaanty doing anything but just going to Mire next. It makes way too much sense in this situation. We do have our first item found in Mire, which is just a full heart container in the bridge chest, so one more chance for the hammer to be here.
Hey, there's the big key.
Oh man, that's the big key location you always get when you can't go mode Mire. And it looks like Supercar is gonna say, "All right, I don't want to go check all of these other flippin' chests in this dungeon, and then just find out that the item was on Vitreous." So Supercar is gonna go kill Vitreous first, and then probably head back in if they don't get the item there.
So fair enough risk. I think it's pretty smart. Go ahead and get the one that's furthest away, and Vidi is way deep within Misery Mire, so it makes a lot more sense just to check and see is there an important item here sitting on the boss, which is all the way at the end of this long and complicated dark section here.
Yeah, you probably lose if the item is not here. You probably lose something like 30 seconds re-entering Mire and redoing the Wizrobe room. But if it is here, then you're gonna save, over a minute from checking all the other chests in the dungeon, particularly with that darn cutscene for opening the vanilla big key location in here.
This will be an interesting fight. We do have half magic on Supercar.
Because Supercar going for a mix of slashing and bombs. These bombs do the same damage as a Master Slash, so since they hit a whole bunch of eyes at once, they can be pretty good. But now we're going to get used to that half magic. Let's go for some sword spam after softening them up a bit. It looks like this will definitely take these eyes down before the magic bar runs out. But man, this is why you want Tempered.
Now comes the super fun part. Yep, switch on over to those arrows. Make it a lot easier.
So there goes Vitreous, and does Supercar find just a small key? So this is a little bit of a decision point, because, Supercar might hop back into Mire and hope to find that hammer as the other item, or might say there's one item left, this is a race, this is head-to-head, and just leave right now. And either decision makes sense in a sense, but we'll have to see what it is. And yeah, this is going to go back, you're going to be thorough. With, I guess, your other option being go to ice without the hammer, then checking this last item is a definitely good play.
I think there's 2 options here after checking the rest of Mire here, which would be go to Ice Palace, do the Crystal Dungeon, which I think a lot of runners would go ahead and do that. You want to complete Crystal Dungeons ahead of doing just Pendant Dungeons. But there's 3 items within Desert Palace, and if it's not boots locked, you have access to all of them. So, could still be there.
I think desert right after this makes a lot of sense, since you don't even have to flute over and go through some extra transitions. You just mirror right outside the door and then you can walk in. So Daaanty going to be following Supercar's footsteps into Mire here. And I guess best case for Daaanty in this scenario is that the hammer is not here, because right now Supercar will be in go mode upon finding that hammer, and then we'll just basically have a full dungeon lead on Daaanty. But if it's not here, then we can still see some divergence, still see some different checks coming in.
Absolutely. Not finding a whole lot yet.
Daanty's coming into Mire with pretty low health here, since, you know, just having to leave pod, not actually finish a dungeon before coming here. So it's not the most comfortable situation without powder, without the ability to refill your hearts, but Daaanty, I do believe, still has at least one blue potion in store, so should be okay. Might have to use that in the dungeon, but that's what it's for.
So we're looking for, still haven't found it, looking for a map, and I think we're still looking for both items too. Well, there's the map.
So I guess Supercar tried to avoid the cutscene for the vanilla big key chest, and that's where the item is. Yeah.
Whoops.
Mire. This is that kind of route where you try to bring down your time by saying, okay, this one horrible chest is not going to be it, let's find it somewhere else, and then you end up with the worst case scenario where you have to walk all the way back over to it. But Supercar knows this is the item. It's got to be something. It might be 20 bucks, but it's got to be something.
Unfortunately, I missed the block push glitch there. I got the other three.
Alright. In about 5 years, when the screen stops shaking for Supercar, we'll be able to find out what this item is. What is it going to be? Is it hammer? It's the hammer.
Well, at 1 hour 22 minutes, almost even, ItsSupercar will be in go mode, and Daaanty will not be very far behind.
Yeah, good news for Daaanty here is it looks like he's gonna find that hammer right away, so he won't ever have to go over to that big chest of Mire, and we'll save some time on that. But at this point, basically the routes have converged. They both have to do the same dungeons. They both made similar progression through pod. Super has checked the first chest in Swamp, but that doesn't really matter because Daaanty will probably just be skipping it on the way in there. Doesn't really need that half magic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people have been asking in chat where was the half magic at? It's in the first chest in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, so if you wanted an idea of how desperate these runners have perhaps gotten in their search for the hammer, we have been into Swamp already without it. Listen, if you're worried about Daanty's health bar, it's fine. The situation's under control. We did see Supercar still checking a couple fast chests, and this is precisely because their equipment is terrible. We have no silvers and just the Master Sword, so if they were able to find at least a sword upgrade, you could save a significant chunk of time on your Ganon fight.
I think at this point, both the runners will be doing some of that, because you do not want to do Master Sword Silverless Ganon. It is not only very long and time-consuming, which kind of are the same thing, but it's a pain in the butt to try and do that. It's just such a hassle of a fight.
Yeah, it turns it in from a formality at the end of the run to like, oh, this is actually kind of hard.
It's the kind of thing that makes you just wanna curl up and cry when you're all done. No matter how strong you think you are, you're just like, Master Sword Silverus, no. Just no.
They say some people try to count the number of slashes or the number of spins they get in Phase 4 of Master Sword Silverus, but I don't think anybody can actually count that high.
Well, I know I can count that high, but still, you just kind of lose track after a while. I had to do it once. I was doing it as an practice seed, and I had my chat counting for me because I lost track. I'm just like, guys, just please help.
Just there for forever. Daaanty taking down all of the little eyes, getting some keep spins in there. This last eye has almost no health left. Just gonna poke it with an arrow, and then poke Vitreous a few times with some more arrows. And you know, here's something interesting. This is maybe Supercar saying how much they really want Tempered. It's gonna do the right side of Ice Palace here. And this is really the time-consuming part that you can skip when you're in Go mode. If Daaanty is perhaps more comfortable with staying on Master Sword, he might be able to save a significant chunk of time here by just not doing this.
Well, there's two gambles that actually be made with that. One being, oh, there's just Canterburna. But the other gamble to be made here is that you think it's not there. I don't need to check those chests. I can go ahead and skip them for now. And we'll play the odds games that maybe. Oh, he's actually going back to pod. Okay, so not dipping immediately into Ice Palace there, but still both our runners will have to complete all of these dungeons. Just the choice of pathing at this point.
Yeah. I actually really like this play because, Daaanty may be thinking, of course, if you're thinking you want Tempered or Silvers, and there is an item on Helmosaurus. So if you get Tempered Sword there, then you're definitely going on Ice Palace. But you're maybe a little less sure about how much you want to check in Ice Palace if you have the Master Sword going in and a question about whether you get a sword just on your way in another dungeon.
And unfortunately, I think for Supercar, checking all those dungeon chests kind of turned out to be a little fruitless this time around.
Yeah, there wasn't anything useful in Ice. Now, for the race perspective, this is good news for us because Supercar had a pretty significant lead coming out of Myers, so if Daaanty's able to skip all of this stuff in Ice, it's going to even things up a little bit. I think Supercar is still ahead overall, but, Daaanty can make up some time here and there, and maybe things will get pretty interesting once we're in GT.
Yes, indeed. And without Bombos having to use that fire rod to go ahead and break the shell.
For a moment, Supercar was thinking of maybe using a blue potion right away, which could be faster than doing these slashes since the fire rod does gold sword damage rather than just the Master Sword slashes, but maybe it says, I don't want to waste it just on this when I don't have any damage on, but you're seeing how long this Cold Stare fight takes with just the Master Sword. It's not fun.
Nope. It's a slow, brutal slog.
One good thing for Supercar is having red mail and, potion ready. Just kind of throw caution to the wind, tank through it, get as many hits in as possible, not worry about dodging. Finishes that up, so that's another crystal for Supercar. Just Pod and Swamp left to do, as Daaanty is in that basement of Pod now. Will be on Helmosaur pretty soon.
Yes, indeed. Getting through the room with the terror pins. These are such a hassle. I'm using that hammer to try and flip them over and kill them. Nicely done. And Supercar going to Swamp Palace now.
Alright, so that will be, a few more items. There's no way we're going to see Left-Side Swamp, I think, but the chests along the way to Argus, those are definitely a good check when you're looking for weaponry.
I would think so. And Daaanty just about finishing up, taking care of Helmosaur King here. Let's see what item is sitting on The King's Shoulders.
Just 50 rupees. You know, another point that just got brought up in chat again, which I'd have forgotten about, is Supercar may have wanted to check all those chests in Ice Palace just on that off chance that the boots are there and the boots are required. Other possibility.
That's a good point, yes.
Alright, so what's next for Daaanty? It looks like Swamp is going to be the play, so... Supercar's got Ice done, Daanty's got Pod done. Both of them will be doing Swamp and then switching over to the other player's dungeon, and then things will even up once again as they head up to the tower.
So we'll sure be checking out what's in Swamp Palace here. Well, actually, both owners going to Swamp Palace. Will be interesting to see if we see Go Mode out of both of them for this one.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. I mean, we'll get kind of an indication about what Daanty's thinking as he checks or doesn't check the first chest. Because, you know, the weapons or the boots definitely be a concern, but how many extra things do you want to take a look at this point, late in the seed?
Oh, we're just going to get to check one chest here. It'll be very interesting to see if we see Daaanty go ahead and check some of these chests as well. There's the big key, so that opens up another chest.
Pretty convenient. We'll get that right now. And the big chest today, giving us more rupees.
Picking up the key, and now we're going to get a bypass on that. And I think Supercar also going to go ahead and just skip the left side.
Yeah, way too time consuming. I think even if you get a sword on the left side, it's probably not worth it. Three more chests plus Argus waiting in Swamp. Both runners gonna be hoping that they don't have to deal with this Master Sword for the rest of the run. And we'll see what Supercar finds down here momentarily. How many big 20s can there really be left? Oh, Tempered Sword!
Ooh! And Bombos. Okay. That was a nice find. Be interesting to see, does Daaanty make the check down there?
Yeah, he has skipped 2 chests so far, which Supercar did go for, but those 2 chests that Supercar did and found the Tempered Sword are, I would say, there's Quake as well, so all the medallions is hanging on the Swamp, so in case you wanted to go to Turtle Rock, you could. Of course you don't. But yeah, those 2 chests where the Tempered Sword was hiding in is probably one of the more efficient checks. Daaanty might skip it anyways and just get that Quake chest, and that will be significant if that's the case, but we'll see. Up or down? What's it gonna be? Oh, he's going down.
Okay. Little sigh of relief for those of you hoping for a really close race still, because Daaanty will be getting a Tempered Sword and actually making a nice call not to check the other chest there.
That tells you exactly how much stuff he was looking for, although maybe it's kind of like a reaction like, oh, Tempered, okay, I'm good, but what if the boots were there? I would've, yeah. Might think about that later, but hey, it's not gonna bite him here.
We are very, very close as far as the time between our runners, so Supercar grabbing that crystal, 133.45. We'll see when Daaanty picks up the crystal from the Argus fight.
Yeah, and then we have Go Mode Ice for Daaanty up against Walk Straight to Helmosaur Pod for Supercar. I couldn't tell you which one of those is faster. There goes Argus.
134.28 for Daaanty, so about 45 seconds is the gap right now. That's how close it is.
Oh my goodness. I think that means the supercar is probably still ahead. But
yes.
Yeah. If Daaanty has a fast, ice palace, like first try bomb jump, all that good stuff, then it's gonna be really close going up to GT.
Not just first try bomb jump. Skipping that right side clear is gonna save a bunch of time too.
Yeah, and tempered for cold stare. I mean, Daaanty doesn't have half magic, so you can't spam the fire rod out, but
nope.
Tempered is way better for that fight.
So Daaanty has more to clear as far as what's left to do in Ice Palace, just with getting down to Cold Stare, but we'll be checking probably a lot fewer things.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Daaanty just like go to this penguin room, the first chest, and just turn around right away. Not even bother killing all of them. After skipping the chest that was 2 steps away in Swamp, I'm just thinking there's no more checks happening. Maybe the freezer room. Maybe.
So Supercar will get up, looks like probably the GT first, having the shorter clear here, but Daaanty not going to be too far behind.
Yeah, it's really close. And there's still, the Tempered Sword eases the end of the game, but Silverless Ganon is still an execution-based fight. And, all of the Gauntlet, all that kind of stuff, so there's opportunity to catch up. It's definitely not... This race is not in the bag for Supercar by any means.
And indeed, we're going to get a bomb jump out of Daaanty.
He's got the X position, looking for the Y position. Doesn't manage to get it on that first bomb.
Yeah, just missed it. Just moved it last second. I think it was close, and then...
Oh, the nice setup there.
Got it this time.
Gets it right away.
Yep. So that'll give access to get down to Cold Stare right off the bat. And I assume that's exactly what the plan is right now.
Yeah, Helmasaur's half dead, the mask's off, Supercar's just going to slash a couple times with that Tempered Sword, and there it goes. So Supercar going to be picking up that crystal soon. Daaanty just a few rooms away from that Cold Stare boss fight, and will be coming in shortly.
So, that is 7 crystals. You know what that means, right? Sigma?
Man, yeah, I think it is time for that GT big key guessing game. So drop a number into chat, 1 to 22, which chest you think the big key is going to be in when we get into Ganon's Tower. The closest guess from a sub or supporter of the Speed Gaming channel, anybody who's cheered at least 250 bits, will be entered into the leaderboard of the guessing game. Supercar is going to stop for some potions first, and then we'll be heading up there. And we will be going, since these runners are going to be in GT together pretty soon, we will be going by whoever enters the tower first. Right now, looking to be Supercars, Daanty's dropping into Cold Stare. Ooh, Daaanty does not have enough magic to break the shell, but I think there's a blue potion in store.
Yes.
Yeah, there is. So they'll have to get used here.
I think he realized that, and is going to go ahead and do that. But that'll also mean that he's going to have enough to go ahead and use the fire rod here. Gets a nice trap. Oh, very nicely done.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. 2 fire rod shots, 1 fire rod shot to that one, 1 fire rod shot to the
Beautifully
last
done.
one. The puffs.
Beautifully done. And Daaanty now in go mode. Up to GT. I guess we call it GT mode. Might also be stopping over to get some potions. I think that might have been his last one.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea when you don't have silvers. You you can use the magic on the last phase of Ganon, potentially, since Daaanty also does not have half magic, so we'll see what the flute destination is going to be. And before Supercar gets up to GT here, because we're getting close, I'm going to ask you, what is your guess for the big key chest here?
I like to guess 12, but this seed's been a little trolly, so I threw in 21 in chat, so I'm going to play the long game.
I'm always a fan myself of guessing 6, because you don't know which chest that is. It's going to be one side or the other. Who knows?
We shall see.
We'll get an exact count on the lead too, and once they entered Ganon's tower, we'll know precisely how far they are apart from each other. Both of them did stop for potions on the way up, and oh gosh, that dead rock. Ugh.
Tried to get to despawn there, but didn't quite work. Second time around, there we go. And so it will be Supercar first into GT here. With Daaanty very quickly on their heels at roughly 1 hour 40 minutes and 31 seconds.
All right, here we go. Daanty's on the mountain, just has to climb up. How fast will Supercar find this key? Chest 1 and 2. Small key. Opens up the opportunity to go right side. Big
There it
key.
is, chest 2.
Wow.
Okay, that's the second time in the last 24 hours I've seen that. Okay. Enough of that seed, please.
Well, so that search is over.
So, congratulations, by the way, to Trace3 for guessing 3. You were the closest, and I was way off.
Yeah, the seed, I guess, took some mercy after everything that happened along the way. Said, okay, enough was enough. We're gonna be nice. You even get the small key. You don't even have to go to the hammer the skull in the other room to get your key for the tower. Just you're set. One room, you're set.
Yeah, like I was mentioning, this happened last night, except it was in the inverse. It was in chest number 1, a match that Bob and I were calling. So, that's the second time I've seen it this weekend. And Daaanty will be about 90 seconds behind. That is the gap right now.
Yeah, we'll be, of course, finding the big key just as quickly and heading up the tower, so it's now just all execution up to the end of the game. Very nice first room of the gauntlet there from Supercar, taking those enemies fast, not having to chase anything. Supercar definitely looking to not give Daaanty an opportunity to catch up here. There haven't been any, real troubles so far. This last enemy here giving a little bit of issues, but ice and conveyor belts are never fun. And it's been pretty good overall so far through this gauntlet. Daanty's going to be getting through this last mimic room, gets those down, and be stepping up to the gauntlet pretty soon. Supercar on to land mode 2. Now, neither runner has powder, so it is probably a good thing that they did that shopping trip, because both of their health bars are not too appealing at the moment.
Nope. We're seeing the fire rod strats here from Supercar onto Lambo. Missing those shots, but that's okay. Gets the 3 cycle there. And off to the very satisfying 5th floor with the Wizrobe brooms.
These are always so cool looking when you get the 1 cycle Wizrobes. Just they'll evaporate your game.
Mm-hmm.
You also got the pretty annoying bridge rooms, which when you have the boots are just completely trivial, but when you don't, you have to walk along and hope that the enemies don't knock you off.
Alright, so 144. Oh, I think Supercar saw a drop there that would have been beneficial, but seems to have already despawned. You're going to go ahead and get into this lamp room at 1:44:22. So that'll give us an opportunity to kind of check here.
All right, so Daaanty intentionally delayed in that previous room to set up this spin by making all the landmos spawn together.
Mm-hmm. AKA the Willard strats.
Down to half a heart, so it's about time to drink a potion, I think. But no, it's gonna say, nah, I'm not gonna take damage in the Wizard room. It's fine. I'll drink it later. It's all fine.
Indeed. Getting a little bit of leather. Actually gets a nice heart refill. Very nicely timed there from Supercar.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And Daaanty's on to the second Wizard room right now. So it was what, 1:44:22 was the torture room entry, so we're just over a minute behind now, so pretty similar gap, I guess, to the start, but maybe Daaanty's caught up about 10 seconds from the looks of things?
About 20 seconds, actually.
Oh yeah, you're right, that's about 70 back, so 20 seconds made up, but still 70 to go, and not much run left now. Supercar takes down Molder of 2, shutting across to last chest, hoping for some maybe silvers, but nothing there. Full heart's actually not too bad in the scope of items that could be in there, actually.
Right. So we'll get to see now. Maybe this room trolls Supercar a little bit. Indeed, just a little bit trolly, but not too much there. 1:46:03 entry up to floor number 7. And Supercar actually getting a fairy. That could be very useful.
Yeah, that fairy in a bottle. So that's pretty good because it means if you get beat up in phase 2 again, which is definitely more of a concern back when we were on Master Sword, you don't have to blow your blue potion early. You'll have more magic for the last phase. But with Tempered and half magic, you know, Supercar is going to probably be feeling pretty good. Nice geometry on this Aga, getting a couple doubles in at odd angles.
Oh, and Daaanty taking a fall there to Troll Dorm as Supercar finishes up the Aga 2 fight. And the purest thing in this game emerges. It's a duck. This is based off a discussion we had in chat yesterday that since when you go to the Dark World, if you don't have the Moon Pearl, you transform into kind of your inner beast. The duck is always the duck, so the duck's inner beast is just another duck, so therefore it's pure.
It's true to itself. Alright, so Supercar going to work on Ganon here. Daaanty's going to be coming into this Aga 2 fight. It's definitely going to have to go fast or hope for a fall from Supercar. But man, this one's coming down to the wire. Supercar is going to take use of that half magic to just keep phase 2 and make sure Ganon does not get an opportunity to do a second fire bat phase here. Just beat him up with that tempered sword. And then on to phase 3 for Ganon. And misses that first hit, so gets in potentially some extra teleports here later, but
indeed. Nice triple from Daaanty though, and a double.
See you later, Aghanim.
Yeah, so the gap is still about a minute at this point. About a minute or about a minute 10. So you find the arrows in the light world. Okay. Well,
what was even left? Were they on the pedestal?
Possibly. I feel like that's about it.
I'm just gonna choose to believe that they were there.
Or Mimic Cave too.
Doesn't he say Death Mountain if it's up there?
Yeah, I think he does. So yeah, if it's Light World, that probably means that it is pedestal. Or yeah, it could have been Boots Locked, King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks. So yeah, if in the credits we don't see it on the pedestal, that means that it's for sure in one of those Boots Locked locations.
Yeah, which, I mean, let's be honest, those are probably in Turtle Rock.
Yep.
So Supercar's got a fair amount of hits in on this phase 4 of Ganon. I don't know how much health he's got left. We're definitely over halfway by now, though. Daaanty's on phase 3, trying to get in here to phase 4, but Supercar is not leaving him much opportunity. There's not many spins left to go.
But yeah, very, very close race here between these two runners. Daaanty getting a freeze there.
Yeah. Supercar missed the hit there. Oh, there's so few left. Daaanty has 2 hits in only on Ganon. Supercar would have to fall, but has been showing good Silverless Ganon so far, and that does it.
Oh, and Daaanty falls off just at that point. Gets a bad Ganon spawn. Aw, that's a shame.
Man, well, I mean, the one consolation is, you hate to lose to a fall, but it was, he was already behind at the fall, so Supercar manages to take this one down with a speed racing TV time of 1:50.12. GG.
He has ended the domination of Dr. Wily. So congratulations. You have saved the city. So yeah, get those GGs in chat, everybody. For our great runners, and by the way, good reminder to follow both Supercar and Daaanty, as Daaanty will be finishing up Ganon here in just a quick moment.
Yeah, just taking a moment to refill potions really quick, and then, hey, this Aga portal is quite convenient, so we're back to the pyramid right away.
Indeed, I think Supercar is just about set to join us, so we'll get him in here. And... Hey, Supercar! Congratulations on your win, GG.
Thanks, GG.
How you feeling after that seed?
I feel alright, knowing it turned out okay. I was really not sure if I was ahead or behind after that flute at Catfish, because it meant I could have gotten it done a lot faster, but I didn't know whether Daaanty had also avoided that spot, so I just had no idea how I was doing.
Well, to give you a little bit of inside info on that, Daaanty did not avoid that spot. Daaanty went and did that very early, but Daaanty was also looking for a couple things that you had already grabbed early, like the bow, so...
Yeah, that's one thing I thought might be my edge, that bow, because if he had gone to Aghanim before checking places like Akima's Cave, I thought maybe that could be an advantage for me.
That actually is indeed what happened. Went and did Aga before you had gone up there and done Aga. But it was fairly close, going back and forth throughout the race here. And ultimately, you both were on the Ganon fight at around the same time. You did have a lead. And as soon as you finished, Daaanty, who was in phase 4, had a fall. So he's finishing up right now, in fact.
Oh, that's rough. Well, it's still cool to hear that it was really close then.
Yeah, in the end, it was probably about... if Daaanty had not fallen off, it probably would have been about a minute difference in the race.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun race to watch for sure. Both players, with one thing the other had, one thing the other didn't. It was pretty back and forth for a while, and then when the hammer finally showed up, things evened out.
Okay, yeah. When I was in Mire, I was just, searching the whole place, looking for that one last item, thinking, oh, it's gonna be junk, But nope, go mode, so...
Indeed, turned out to be the one thing that you were looking for. And the only bad thing about that was about 30 seconds after you went and found the hammer there, Daaanty went and also found the hammer in the exact same spot and immediately launched into go mode. And just couch cash tonight on the pedestal, which must mean that Ganon was asking for the arrows to be in one of the boots lock locations.
Huh.
Yeah, we kind of did some detective work on that. I figured it was either on the pedestal or it was a boots locked set of silver arrows there. So that seems to indicate that, yep, hanging out in Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb. Or Green Pendant, maybe even too.
Oh, that's true. So the pet dream was dead after all, but what's also dead is Ganon as Daaanty. Beats him up this time, takes him down pretty quickly, and finishes with a speed racing TV time of 1:54.50. No, 1:54.32. I can read numbers. GG Daaanty, nice race.
GG, very much. Oh yeah, Magic Bat's possibility too. We never went there.
Oh man, here I was hoping that the pedestal was the only thing left.
Yeah, but as far as the seed goes, there were a lot of important progression items hiding out in these one-off locations you don't usually have to visit very often. So, as you started to realize that, Supercar, did that change your thinking as far as, okay, maybe there's, you know, some of these one-off locations have progression items that I wouldn't normally go check, so I'm gonna go check them right now?
I wouldn't say that that was a thought that I had. At a certain point, you just kind of try to go by the numbers and by the routing and just find an area of the map where you can knock out a few things at once. So I wouldn't say I was necessarily more biased towards one-offs until they became the most convenient spot to check.
Gotcha, that makes sense. And we are now joined by Daaanty. GG.
GG, thank you very much.
GG.
It was a very close race throughout for both of you. And Daaanty made the early play up to get that flute for catfish, but you had the later play to get the bow from Agina's cave.
Yeah, I fell behind after taking a couple of early deaths, and so I figured catfish is either probably going to make or break this for me. And I kind of got I stopped being tilted, I guess, once I got that. I'm like, I'm hoping my opponent didn't go get this flute. So that kind of just let me settle into the seed and, you know, actually play through the logic. But still made a couple of mistakes down the line. But, you know, that's the way it goes in these.
Indeed. For the most part, you guys were going pretty much back and forth, checking places, kind of tracing each other's steps one after the other. And ultimately, when you guys both got up through the top of GT, it was about a 60 to 70 second difference between you two going into Ganon. So very, very close race throughout.
Wow, that's insane to hear that. I felt like I was so far behind so often in that. So
yeah, you're obviously having that fall on Ganon did push the eventual race gap of about 4 minutes a little further apart than it really was throughout most of the race.
Yeah, I was going a little, I guess, too quick. I wanted to try and get the torch relit just to freeze him and hopefully not get hit because I hated the position he went into, and I ended up just hugging him. So, you know, that never goes well when you try to hug the pig.
Yeah, actually at the exact same time that you had that fall, Supercar finished up with the final spin on Ganon, so...
How ironic.
So, anything that you want to mention real quick, Sigma?
Well, I just wanted to say GG to both you guys. Like, that race was really fun to watch, so it was great that you put on a good show. And I also wanted to ask you, Supercar, you're 4-2 now going through the tournament. How are you feeling about making that bracket with a win next week?
I'm going to try not to get cocky. I mean, I didn't come into this tournament with any particular expectations, so if I end up going 4-3 next week, I'm not going to be too upset about that. But it is exciting, the possibility of making it, so I'll keep my hopes high, but my expectations reasonable.
Sounds good. Sounds good. right, so once again, if you enjoyed this race, these runners put on a good show for us here, and the best way to show support for them is to drop them a follow and check them out on their streams. Just to give the old R in chat to give you those. And thank you, Neon Tiger, for doing the commentary with me. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Pleasure as always, Sigma. And by the way, you should also go ahead and give a quick follow to our tracker, Carissa. Did a pretty good job tonight. Trying to keep up with everything that was going on, both streams. It's never an easy thing to do, to have to kind of bounce back and forth there. Keep an eye on 2 different streams, checking all the items. So definitely give Carissa a follow. And of course, Sigma as well, my co-commentator. Once again, great working with you.
Yep, it's been a pleasure. Now, this will be the end of the randomizer here on this channel for now, but if you're looking for more randomizer, the matches are not done yet for tonight. There's going to be another one coming up in an hour on the main Speed Gaming channel. That's going to be Couch 23 against Fricker 22. So we're going to see which number is stronger. And in the meantime, Speed Gaming 3 has a Z1R weekly race starting up. So there's some action going on over there if you want to check that out.
Indeed. So you got a little bit of a little different rando action going on. And then we kick off tomorrow at noon. Speed Gaming 2 is going to have a match between He's Just a Boy and Nailene. And then we've got more rando going on through the afternoon. There's a Patty match in there, so that will be entertaining, to say the least. Got some pretty good matches going on all day into tomorrow into the evening. So keep checking those out. And I guess that's about it. So as I always like to say, good night, good luck, good RNG, and we will see you soon for yet another rando. I'm Neon Tiger.
I was Sigma. Take care, guys.